Welcome back to another KartSim Esports video, this time at PFI. I was hoping to get this video out sooner, but I had some problems with my PC and I've been busy with sim racing as well. I post updates about events on Instagram, so make sure to go check that out. I'd done loads of practice and my pace was looking decent, so I was super excited for the event. I qualified P4 in the pre-event qualifying, which is a 3-place improvement from last time, so I was super happy. I did most of my practice in the dry and a bit in the wet, so I was super confident going into the race. This was when the cadets loaded into their session and the track was literally flooded. I immediately hopped onto a private session to do some extra practice in the wet. I knew I didn't have to be the fastest because just surviving in these conditions is usually enough to gain places. But as it turns out, I was quite fast. There isn't much to say about this session, although I was quite surprised at how quickly the dry line appeared.
So Tancho Banda, we haven't seen him at the top end. He is really getting on with it in the wet. So let's see if he can score some decent points as well.
Indeed, yeah, Tancho joined us for round number 2 last time out at GYG and had a really decent performance. Qualified in 5th place, finished in 5th place. So nice and consistent for Tancho, was battling really well at the sharp end of the order. He's back here for round number 3 and currently in 5th place. He clearly quite likes that position, no matter what the conditions are. Tancho stays there in P5. He'll be hoping to improve though as we head on through.
Unfortunately for me, just as the track got to its fastest, another car came out of the pits in front of me, and I ended up spinning behind it, which meant I wasn't able to do a lap in the best conditions, and similar to the ones that we'd get in qualifying. The spin looks pretty silly, but the driver who was in front of me joined the session after me, which meant I could only see him as a massive yellow car until I reset back to the pits. But this meant that I couldn't see anything in front of me and I had no idea where I actually was on the track. Because I wasn't able to set a lap during the best track conditions, I ended up in P10, but I knew I had a lot more pace than me. Jumping into qualifying, I knew I could have been at the top in practice, so I was excited to finally show my pace. My plan was to wait until everybody had left the pits before I left, but I was actually the closest kart to the pit exit, so I was just able to go out and get a good track position, until the kart behind me started trying to overtake, but I had a small gap after a couple laps. I don't think I've ever been in a quali session like this before. Every lap the track was getting 3 or 4 tenths faster. I was actually on provisional pole at one point. Because of the evolving track conditions, I knew whoever crossed the finish line to start their quali lap last would have the best chance of getting pole, as they'd have the best track conditions. Skipping ahead towards the end, I'm now doing my final few laps, but there are a couple drivers we need to keep an eye on because it completely changes how the qualifying went. Zane pits at about 3 minutes 30 to go. I wasn't really sure why, because it meant that he'd have cold tyres for the last few laps, and it also meant that he would have full treaded tyres for the drier conditions, which would cost him time. It did help him on his first lap because he went onto provisional pole, then on his next lap he went into the pits. I knew the whole of the top 10 could do pretty much the same lap time in the dry, but the rain added an extra bit of strategy in terms of track position, and trying to find where the grip was with the quickly drying track was also quite tricky. I did a lap which put me 1/10 away from Zane, and with about 5 seconds to spare, I was able to do one last flying lap.
Tancho Banda, we've seen him on pole earlier on in this session. Well, he found almost a tenth and a half, purple sector number 1. He's found more time in sector 2, but not the fastest. What's Tancho going to put in? It's 2nd place for Tancho Banda. Crucially though, he's crossed the line with about 5 seconds left to go. He will get another lap in. Checkered flag comes out then. These are the crucial moments as we set the grid in the seniors.
Warwick was just behind me and also managed to get another lap, so I knew that one of us was going to get pole. I was flying on this lap. I was going to absolutely destroy the pole position time of a 1 minute 3.4. However, there was another car in front of me. I thought it would be fine because there was a good 2 or 3 seconds between us, but I caught up to him before the end of the lap and I lost so much time having to overtake them.
There, as we, I think, both thought, with Zane coming out of the pits there, he won't be able to find any more time. He did. He got so far ahead of the rest of the field, we thought no one can catch him. Well, they definitely have. The 2 championship rivals currently sat on the front row. Stolen by Tancho Banda, though. Not quite the pole position that we may have thought from Josh, but close enough. Warwick Milam stolen it on the last lap. Unbelievable final lap from Warwick Milam. Where did that one come from? We thought that the front row was done and dusted for shuffling there.
Tancho Banda really could have put it on pole, but he had some traffic from Kaya Valero, I believe, through that last sector, so he must be gutted. But again, That's just qualifying. Now we have a race. It could be anyone's race right now, and the top 10 can all have a go. I mean, we've seen all of them at pole position at one point.
I would have got pole by over half a second, but instead I ended up P2 0.03 seconds behind P1. Then Warwick beat the pole time by 3/10. I got a pretty decent start, but because I'm stuck on the dry line, I get overtaken and fall down to 5th. I wasn't too worried because I knew I was faster than the drivers ahead, but then a couple meters later, I get absolutely destroyed and fall back down to 21st place. To make things worse, my car gets stuck on the banking for a few seconds, which means that I lose even more time. I was also the victim of this absolutely unbelievable rejoin. The driver got disqualified for the rejoin, but I think that's because he hit somebody else as well before me. The start was chaotic for the whole field. There was a multi-car crash at the back of the grid, then I was taken out and a couple guys at the front also had incidents. I also saw the aftermath of the lap 1 chaos as I was driving around catching up to everyone, and it was just a graveyard. There were karts everywhere. I knew it would be hard to catch up and overtake on track, but just surviving in these conditions will mean that you gain places. By the end of the first lap, I was back up to P13. After avoiding the crash on the next straight, I was up to P11.
But other big upset of this race is Tancho Banda. He's climbed his way back up to 11th place, but that has really ruined his race after getting spit off at the first corner.
Yeah, that was gutting for Tancho. He really showed his pace in qualifying earlier on, but just getting unlucky on that start of the race. As we say, getting shuffled wide, losing a lot of positions. He's done well so far to battle his way back through, almost into the top 10.
On lap 3, I made a really nice switchback and avoided this huge crash that happened right in front of me, which moved me up to P8. Now there's a bit of a gap ahead, so I was pushing as hard as I could, and I was flying, setting a new fastest lap pretty much every lap, and was lapping about 0.3 seconds faster than the leaders on those laps. As the field is so incredibly close in this championship, there was some pressure from behind, but I managed to pull away a little while they were battling. While I was slowly catching up to the car ahead, I never got close enough to overtake. However, there were some questionable overtaking attempts at the end of the race, and also some penalties from the start.
I wanted to shout out Tancho Banda again. P8, he was in the wall in T1, and that's the race over, but he's really fought back. He's carrying really good pace, and hopefully maybe he can even get to Benjamin Hamilton.
Yeah, that just shows never give up in the KartSim British Esports Championship. There's still all to play for. Even if it all goes wrong at the first corner, Tancho is the martyr of that one, showing how you can still press on through the order and gain some points back to your championship chart.
So I finished P8, my fastest lap was taken at the end, but I was moved up to P6 post-race because of penalties. I was happy with the result, but also a bit disappointed because I knew I would have been fighting for the win had I not been taken out on lap 1. There is a small chance, if the final round at Wilton Mill goes well, that I could slip into the top 3, but hopefully the top 5. I would be really happy with top 5 given I missed the first round. In this championship, you get a drop round, which means that your worst result will be removed. This means that if you have a bad round or get taken out, it won't be the end of the world, but because I didn't enter round 1, it means I don't get that luxury. I can't wait for Wilton Mill in a few weeks, even if they did ruin the final sector. Thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one.